So this is it. This is the dream. This was an afternoon at Boyce Thompson Arboretum in Arizona. And this is exactly what I want in my yard. But I'll take even a minor version. So I have one, and we're going to spend time transforming this entire area into a southwest pollinator garden. We want butterflies and everyone else. So this is where we'll be putting in our new plants. This is sorghum that I planted in the spring. This was a really hot summer, so they were super small, but they kept the soil alive and they're already on drip, so our plant should take off well. This is a popcorn plant. You can see it was super duper hot. It fried, but also on drip, active soil. And this is what we'll be replacing them with. So this is what I'll be replacing those sorghum with. This is called Pride of Barbados. I have 4 of them, which will create a grouping of 5 in that area. 4 more. We may have a few blooms this year, but next year it'll be much larger. These get pretty huge on irrigation. They can get up to, I've seen them around town, over 8 feet tall and full of beautiful orange and red flowers. And inside this protected area, I've been gathering pots of different southwest heat-tolerant plants that will do well in full sun and have gorgeous blooms. We will get into the details of these plants in a moment, but first let's clear out our area. So we need to remove all of the dead plants as well as the weeds and find a good place for them. So the sorghum is coming out easy peasy. Looks like it did a great job rehabilitating the soil. This used to be compacted clay and gravel, and it's 100% different. So first I'm going to dig a few holes and stage the plants before transplanting them. So I like to just put them in their future location in their pots and see if they can tolerate the sun. That way I'm not double stressing them by transplanting them and putting them in a sunny spot. So I found the tag for the sorghum. It's coral, which explains the red color as well as in the roots. Cool. Okay, we have our holes dig. A portion of the soil is already mixed with native soil as well as the more organic, rich soil. Let's see here. So I just put the pots in now, one to make sure that the holes are deep enough, and then also, since this is the morning, it's not the best time to plant, honestly, anything. So they're going to spend a day here, get used to the weather, and then I can put them into the ground in the afternoon. So there's less heat stress. These are full sun, desert adapted plants, so they should be just fine. And while we're back here, let's have a look. This is a Texas olive, beautiful white flowers that attracts the hummingbirds and bumblebees. And it's also evergreen, or this is evergreen. Small tree, we can train it into a small tree or keep it as a shrub. So this is part of the reason why I planted sorghum, because it's going to make biomass for me. So even though I didn't get seed heads from these will do a world of good in our raised garden beds or nest batch for the fall garden will love having all this green. So for now, just gonna plop it in, let it wilt down, and then we'll chop it up later. All right, our desert pollinator garden is going along well. I'm getting my perennials in, and today we want to put our last few in. Look in here, see. This is a milkweed. We just have a lot of heat-tolerant plants back here, as well as natives, to try and get a continuous bloom. It's my new obsession for the garden. A nice year-round nectar and pollen source, and lots of habitat. All right, let's plant these last few. All right, so this plant has very pretty red tubular flowers. And I've pre-dug the holes. It's been sitting here getting moist. And get this in. Plant this guy. I'm not going to disturb the roots much. Just disturb the sides lightly. So they grow out into the new soil. And then I have a mix of native soil, which is very clay-like, and potting soil standing by for drainage, and so it doesn't go in shock. Let's get that in. All right. Let me get you a close-up of the tubular flowers. So to include as many different flower structures as possible to attract the greatest number of pollinators. Greatest number, greatest variety. It's always about diversity. So you get all your natives in, and guess what? They'll pollinate your plants for you in the vegetable garden and your fruit trees. Anyways, these are really pretty too, just on their own. Besides utility, look at that one. All right, let's go to the lantana. All right, lantana, a staple in the Southwest garden. Oh, nice low spreading habit, nice flat flowers for butterflies and other insects to land on, and I have seen hummingbirds feeding on them. These are red and yellow. Same. Let's just mix this up. We're going to break up the roots along the edge, the pot edge, and plop it in. We want to plant it about the same height as it was in a pot, making sure it doesn't have the top roots aren't buried. You don't want root rot setting in. These are hot weather plants, and they are drought resistant, which is perfect. All right, and this is a Pride of Barbados. Probably seen this plant blooming all over town starting in the fall. This is one of my favorites. I saw this at the Boyce Arboretum. They had a ton in, and it was literally covered with hundreds of butterflies. So we're kind of past peak flowering right now, but it's a little stressful for the plant to transplant it anyway. But peaks in September, and it loves the hot weather. So perfect for this area. Let's get this one in. Oh my goodness. There we go. Lots of extra soil. Alright. Let's turn it this way so I can make a nice orange blossom hedge. There's three, a group of three here. Alright. this out of here. What's up, guys? All right, and our last plant here that we're putting in today, this morning, is a milkweed. This is a desert variety. It has these really cool flowers. I like the shape of the leaves, just for contrast. Pretty neat, almost reedy looking. All right, let's go ahead and plant this guy. All right. I have these just to protect a little bit of shade in the middle of the day so they're not burning up or they're hardening off out here. You can see, look at that, it's like, it has to be like 2-3 feet. 3 feet. Very pretty. Very interesting too. Like break up the other foliage, especially in front of this Barbados cherry, which is just continuously blooming pink and white flowers. So that'll be a cool contrast. All right, if I don't lose an eye. All right, ooh, the roots on that. So I'm not gonna break it up a tiny bit, not a ton. And everyone's on drip. Let's get some soil. Look at this, so cool. The flower, where is it? Here it is. Isn't that neat? Very cool. I've saved the soil here on the side and mixed it with some organic matter. These are desert plants, but they're also nursery pots with potting soil. So, gotta honor that. And then once we're done here, water them in this afternoon. Have some sage seedlings we'll go ahead and put in. Those are blooming actively now. So it'll give us color, as well as plant some wildflower seeds. I like to do that in the afternoon because of the birds. All right, looking good. Very cool. All right, let's organize our seeds. I've been just ordering them whenever I see them all season long and picking them up in nurseries. So I like to just put them in order before I make my mix so I have an even ratio of each type. Although I'll definitely go heavy on the poppies because they're gorgeous. Alright, so I'm going to use a small jelly jar to make my seed mix. Now some of these seed packs I discovered at the National Heirloom Expo in California, and they've done really well for us, so I ordered again this year. It was a great variety of wildflowers, and they also benefited from putting down fallen branches and stuff, or trimming. They made little microclimates, I believe, and probably kept the birds off the seed. Lots of poppies. I pretty much just grab them anytime I see them. Also ordered them from Amazon. Botanical interests. I can order them online, and our local nursery had quite a few. Rat's tail radish. These are like my favorite. I've been growing them for years. They always do well in our hot climate. Lots of flowers, not big roots, but they last a really long time, and you can eat their little seed pods. Strangely this year they were kind of hard to find, but fortunately I was able to get them from a couple of sources. Seed Savers and Rare Seeds had a few left in stock. And this batch is another container of flowers. Aren't necessarily wildflowers, but sunflower, zinnias, cosmos, calendula. Perfect. Let's go spread our seeds out. Now I usually direct sow and spread wildflower seeds out periodically over a few days, just to increase the odds of them surviving birds as well until spring when they'll actually germinate. Alright, let me show you how I plan to protect the seeds from birds. So I received this package of straw on accident in the mail. I usually get straw without tack for my garden, but this one, instead of sending it back, I decided I would go ahead and use it because it says it'll protect from the birds. So might as well try it in the wildflower area. Patch of soil here. It's a good mix of native soil, which is clay, in that light brown color, as well as the dark potting soil for my transplants. And then here are my seeds. They're pretty small. This is a mix of some ornamentals that attract pollinators. You see some sunflowers in there, calendula, as well as cosmos. It's all pretty small. And these little tiny ones. So let's get those. And we're just going to sprinkle. The sunflower seed could probably use a little bit more depth, but we're going to grab these tiny seeds and we're just going to sprinkle those. Like that. Then we're going to take our straw and cover it lightly. That's it. And I'll do the whole area like this. Of course, the last step is to water thoroughly, just enough to saturate the ground. And that's it. I'll catch you guys next time. Happy gardening.